district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text, that trash offers the best. You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man. Y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Fantasyland? We are back in the district for a Thursday tailgate where we shred the Thursday night football game down into pieces to help you guys crush, whether you're betting, props, lines, fantasy, start sits. We're going to try to help you out as much as we can. If you're in the live chat, don't be shy. Make sure you drop your cues, your questions, your comments. You have any lineup questions, anything like that. And make sure you tune in tonight as well, 7 p.m. Eastern. Dan and I have special guest Jax Falcone from the Undroppables coming on. We'll mix in a bit of Dynasty. That'll be at 7 p.m. on this very channel. I got my boy, the hairy snowman, Rob. I know it's hot down there. You still got a toque on. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm cruising, man. I'm having a big day, having a good day. Been up since early, and as usual, jamming, kicking ass, taking names. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
We got Dave in the house. Toronto Dave, what's up? Always a blast to have you on. He's excited about
Canada in the house.
Yep, Canada in the house. Nice. So tonight, another big one. Thursday night games have been here and there, and I feel like it's a big one. You commented, Rob, that Buffalo, little scary if you're Buffalo, if you're part of that Bills Mafia right now. They are 4-3. They're second in the AFC East. They're at 28, just over 28 points per game for, and then 16, just under 17 points against. And then you've got Tampa Bay coming into Buffalo, second in their division. They're actually having a decent season considering they got Baker starting. We didn't know how that would go. Evans having a decent season. They're 3-3. Their points per game and points against are very similar. They're at 17.2 and 17.3. So that's kind of setting the table for tonight's matchup. Right now, the over-under is 43.5. And the favorite, I'll check to make sure that that's up to the second, but this is like about an hour ago I had that open. Yeah, it is the exact same. It's still a 9-point favorite for Buffalo at home, and the 43.5 is the over-under. Rob, I kind of jumped right into it. I don't know if you wanted to take a look in the rearview mirror last week, or you want to just get into the goodness for tonight.
Well, the only thing I'll say is both of them coming off tough losses, right? The Bucs gave up a couple big plays at the end, gave up a 51-yard field goal, so they're coming in short week, tough loss. Buffalo lost to the Pats. Again, I think what you're really looking into this game is just kind of the injuries that have happened to these teams, and short week, the impact it's probably going to have on this game.
So why don't we start there? Obviously, Knox, a big injury, just especially if you're holding Kincaid in fantasy or you're looking to play some of the props. I think he's probably an interesting guy to talk about, Kincaid, for tonight, with Knox now being out, probably going on injured reserve. Yeah. What else do we have with regards to injuries?
Well, let's Knox is out. Also, Morris is out for the other tight end. So you have two tight ends out for Buffalo. A little more emphasis on what Kincaid will do. He's been playing out of the slot a lot, but you figure they're going to move him around now. So
you think he goes in the block, even though that's not why they brought him in?
No, I mean, I think they'll move him around. I mean, they can move him out. They move him out into the block. I don't think he's necessarily blocking there. I think he's just running but they're going to need somebody to play in, and someone's going to have to play in line sometimes, even if they're running him out in a pattern to run the linebacker out. We'll see what's going to have trouble. I think Buffalo's in trouble. Buffalo might really be in trouble in this game, and I know they're 9-point favorites. Everybody's coming in loving the Bills. I think, my gut, I don't have a lot. Well, I have some stats to back me up too, but I think that Tampa's going to keep this closer than 9 points.
Interesting. You do have Baker and who was dealing with a knee issue, and then you've got Godwin with a neck issue, both supposed to play tonight.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good for Tampa getting two of their top offensive pieces there.
Mm-hmm. Baker came out, said his knee wasn't anything, that he wasn't worried about it. Godwin, same thing. He said he was just resting with the neck. They both finished the last game, so I'm not expecting them to not show up or not play. So
I'm going to try not to spill the coffee today.
Don't spill the coffee.
Man, that was a mess. I'm telling you. That was all over the place last week. So I already see a trade in the chat. We'll get back to that. Keep dropping your questions, trades, anything relating to tonight or the weekend or the season. I actually pulled off a pretty big trade. Make sure you go check it out at JD Goat District on the X machine. I'll talk about that towards the end. Try to remind me if I forget. But
let me jump in again real quick with the injuries. So we just talked a little bit about the injuries to the tight ends, but that's not really where I think that this game gets impacted. I mean, really, it's guys that have been lost for the season for the Bills. Tre'Davious White and now Matt Milano. Matt Milano is the heart of the middle of the field for Buffalo. That's key to their defense. If they can't control the middle of the field, they're not going to be able to control the game. Now, they've got great pass rushers. They've been doing great against stopping the back out of the backfield, okay against the run. It really depends on how things go in this game. But if, Tampa opens up attacking down the field and in the middle of the field, I could see this thing turning out a little bit differently than people are thinking.
What's up, Jason? Welcome. Yeah, I mean, Mike Lombardi was another guy. As soon as Milano got hurt, he was kind of thinking that's a bigger
huge
hit to the Bills than people maybe realize, especially Bills Mafia with all the hope they had coming into the season. And we've seen it, right? That they're defensively not as sound as they were, and that's affecting the whole team all around. Tonight's an interesting one. I know RJ Bell is a guy that I respect very much. And one stat he looked at was favorites coming in over a touchdown after a short week, 3-day rest, but off of a tough loss. And I believe they were 9-1-2.
Oof.
So
tough. All right.
He's got Buffalo like smashing this game, and is even thinking was even kind of going along the lines where, maybe under the 1.5 touchdowns for Mayfield, like that kind of thing.
So I will see your stat, and I will go one directly on this particular matchup. I will go. Tampa is 7-1-1 against the spread last 9 games against Buffalo, 8-3 straight up in those games. So, as far as the matchup goes, historically, Tampa has been underestimated coming into this matchup. You got a 9-point dog. You're giving me 9 points with Tampa. They own the series. I get it. Like, you look across the NFL and you've got a lot of different stats, but if I'm looking at these two teams, I'm looking at it. I would go with the specific stats to the matchup. Now, on the year, Tampa's 3-3 against the spread. Buffalo 3-4 against the spread, right? But again, I would. And also Bucs are 4-10 against the spread the last 14 games. So, even though this year they've been really good against the spread, 4-1-1, go back to last year, they really weren't doing that great. But if you go in the matchup straight up, You're looking at Tampa with an advantage. So if I'm just looking at this year and I'm looking at the matchup, which is usually a little bit better to base on, then I'm probably leaning Tampa on this matchup, even with the general stats regarding the league and losers coming into this, etc.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. Or maybe we got to get like a little board going or something where we put some side pieces where we disagree.
Yeah.
But right now, you've got Tampa coming in as 31st in rushing, 21st in passing, 11th. Their defense pretty good, better than what we've seen from Buffalo. That's for sure. The offense is where they struggle at 26, whereas Buffalo 5th in offense, 5th in passing, 12th in rushing. You talked about the defense 22nd right now. So to me, as we get into the individual players, it's going to be interesting with the prop bets and where we see the strengths happening, because we disagree on the actual outcome of the game.
Which is good. We should have two different scenarios. Like if we're winning, here's what we're doing with Tampa. Here's what we're doing with Buffalo. I think that's a smart approach.
All right. Well, why don't you jump into your numbers? Unless you want to hit a question or two before we get into it, or you want to.
Either way, we got a full. That's either way.
Let's do a quick trade. We got Ruckus. He traded Moss and Najee for Mixon in a 10-man SF tight end premium. How'd I do? I don't hate. I
don't hate it. I like Mixon, but it really depends on the rest of the team.
I like selling high on Moss. I think that's a good move because you got to think JT with all the money they dumped, they gave up. You got to think that he's eventually going to work his way back in there as much as Moss looks good. I don't hate it because you're probably getting Mixon low. And I think that Cincinnati Bengal turns around. Najee, he's been so-so.
Yeah, last couple of weeks he's looked a little better, but
nothing. I don't hate it, man. I don't mind any time you think you're upgrading at a position. I did a similar trade in Superflex where I bought Herbert and I sent a bunch of pieces. Jordan Love, Mac Jones, 24 first, which is going to be the 12th pick because I win this league every year, and Dotson. So happy with that. Anytime you upgrade, like I said, to something you think is better, I think it's a good move, and I don't mind it there with those running backs.
I don't hate it. Don't hate it.
All right. Set the table. Drop your goodness. You do a lot of research on these games, so let's have it.
Yeah. One more injury, just to kind of just on the Tampa side that we want to talk about. There's safeties out this game. I'm trying to look where it is. Merriweather. So when I break down these defenses, each defense has a weakness. For Buffalo, it's the number one wide receiver. Number one wide receivers tend to do well against the Buffalo Bills. For Tampa Bay, it's going to be the slot receiver. Now, Diggs moves around. 35% of the time, he's going to be in the slot. Not so for Evans. Evans is going to line up on that left side the entire time. He's going to be pretty consistent. Both of them are going to have advantages in those matchups. So, we talk about old school terminology. We are going to get into this. It's called an angle. We have an angle on this matchup, and that angle is Evans. Evans has the mismatch. Evans across the board should outperform, and we have odds that are in our favor as far as DraftKings and these other sites go. So our angle on this is Evans. Currently, I have a line at 58.5 for his yardage total. He averages 58.5. You take out his top and his bottom, his top score, his bottom, and then average it out. He's at 58.5 exactly, but he's got an advantage. Plus, I have him at plus 46% on this advantage. So we're 46%, half of that. I'm looking at around 75 to 83 yards this game for Evans, and more than likely a touchdown. I don't think touchdowns are going to come on the ground against these two defenses. I'm more inclined to think it's going to come through the air. And so that's leading me towards Evans on that side. On the other side, we're missing the safety now. number one is not a weakness for Tampa. They're 22nd in the league against the number one wide receiver, but it's still a positive matchup. Without the loss of the safety, it was a positive matchup for Diggs. Now, with the loss, it's going to cause most likely issues on doubles. So now we've got Diggs moving between the slot and the number one. Both of them he's going to have an advantage on. I don't see a lot else going on there. The slot, a huge advantage, plus 60% against the slot receiver. So for Diggs, I have him averaging 85.5 per game. If you take out his
what do you think his over under is in yardage? 85.5.
So right there. But we think he's going to do better than average. I have his projection coming in around 101 to 125 yards and also likely a touchdown, So our two angles on this game, would be Mike Evans, which gives us, some juice on the odds. The Diggs is a favorite. I mean, if we go through the projection, anytime touchdown, you're given 130, 2 touchdowns plus 425. With Mike Evans, 2 touchdowns plus 1,200. So if we're swinging for the fence, 12-1 odds on him scoring 2 touchdowns, he's got a huge matchup advantage. They're number 30 in the league against this number 1 spot. So that seems to be, if you're rolling the dice to try to get, to try to put the boogies out of business, then that's what you're looking for. You're looking for those big, odds that you could try to cash in on a big day.
All right, so a lot to digest there. I mean, I've got a few ideas just based off of what you were saying there and kind of what I'm coming in with.
And one more thing I'll just add, based on last touchdown, we're looking at what Vegas thinks now, right? What the book is thinking. They think Buffalo's going to jump ahead in the first half. Okay. And they think Tampa's going to be scoring in the second half. So, based on what Vegas has given us with last touchdown, that's where Vegas is coming in. They're coming in thinking Buffalo's going to jump ahead. Tampa's going to be coming from behind in the second half, which makes sense with the line. So just throwing that out there too.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't necessarily have to be on a different ticket even, because a lot of the pieces would still fit. Like, for example, with a guy like Rachaad White, I don't know that Tampa Bay is necessarily going to be controlling the game at any point necessarily, or a lead. So he's probably going to be higher on the receiving end of things. I know his receptions were 3.5.
I'm not looking. Buffalo is number 4 against the running back coming out of the backfield, and Tampa's number 6. What
about against receiving running backs? Do you have that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, is that what you mean? Sorry.
The receiving running back coming out of the backfield.
Okay, sorry.
They're number 4, number 15 against the rush for Buffalo. Right. Number Perfect. 11 for
take that off the. So what about rushing yards under for White?
I would be more inclined to go rushing yards under, right? Because right now it's only a minus 12% on the discount. So I mean, it's not a huge hit. Like a lot of times we're looking for 40% and above, either minus 40 or plus 40. So it's not a huge edge. But yeah, if I was going for an angle, the angle are the wide receivers. The angle is Mike Evans, in any different way we can capitalize on Mike Evans tied to whatever.
So Evans right now his yardage is 58.5. So from what you're saying, that's the tease. To me, that's because Diggs already has 85.5, and you've got him right there at 85. So you can maybe go Diggs on the receptions and the touchdown, something like that.
Yeah, I have Diggs over on the yardage also. I do have Diggs as over. I have him.
I mean, you don't necessarily – I don't know that I would tease that 85.5 more than it already is, whereas Evans being so low at 58.5, I feel like you can really tease that and benefit.
Yeah, a little. A little bit. I mean, I have Evans, like I said, I have Evans coming in at 83.5 yards. So from 58, I don't know where that teases in.
Trying to find his alternate yards for some reason. I can.
And then just to be clear, I have Diggs coming in over 100 yards. So another, if we're at 85.5.
How many? You said 70.
I have him at 83.5.
All right, so maybe you tease him at 70 over as opposed to 50.
Yeah, that's nice and conservative. That's good.
8.5.
I do.
The other one I was thinking was Kincaid over yardage. It's only 38.5 receiving yards. You got to think he's going to be more involved, no? Or what's
Let
TB
me
against
look.
the tight end?
Tampa Bay is number 5 against the tight end. They take away about 20% of the receptions, 20% of the yardage. So, but Kincaid will move into the slot against Tampa Bay also, where they are the worst in the league, and they give a plus 60% against the slot receiver. So I don't know. I mean, if they're lining him in the slot.
How about this? I mean, if you look at the tight ends that they've played for Tampa, Minnesota week 1. So
They're all going to be. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
They're the worst in the league. They're all going to be good. I think that given, well, I shouldn't say against the tight end, I don't know if it's going to be good. Against the slot receiver, it should be, but that's where Kincaid's been playing. And so if we're thinking of him as a slot receiver, then he's got a great advantage, and we go over. If we think that he's going to line up in line more and be coming out of, then maybe not. Then we're looking at a linebacker who probably is able to cover him. Which
so his receptions are 3.5 versus the 38.5 yardage.
What's his average? Let me look.
Yeah, I'd have to do a quick Google on that one.
Here, let me look real quick. I got him on one of my teams real quick. I can take a look.
So,
yes, sir.
No, I'm just kind of looking at what we've got so far. So we're teasing Mike Evans because we like, for those listening, we're not telling you to go do this right now. This is not financial advice in any way. Rob and I just like to put together a little same game parlay when we do this show, just as we get through it.
What was the receptions on Kincaid?
Kincaid 38.5.
No, receptions 4.5.
Sorry, 3.5.
3.5. I like the over a little bit. I like it at 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
we have Evans over 70. We've got Kincaid over 3.5.
Yeah, I like the anytime touchdown for Mike Evans. That's plus 180.
Well, I've got the under rushing for White 46.5. Did you like that or no?
I have no idea. With White, they haven't been able to rush all season long, but I don't know. I mean, I've got an angle. That's my angle.
What was the other touch? You like Evans or Diggs for any time? Evans is obviously.
I like Evans for any time. Diggs is given 130 for any time. I like both of them for an anytime touchdown. I think Diggs will almost for sure. Diggs is going to score a touchdown in this game. It's just that you have to give juice to get it.
It's only like so in our parlay right now, it would put us at plus 500 with Diggs versus plus 575 with Evans. It's not that much of a difference.
Yeah, no, it's plus 180 versus minus 130. So it's not even but if you can, that's good. Diggs is a solid piece to that. Right. Certainly for a touchdown. Now, if we're swinging for the fences, it's the 2 touchdowns, right? He's only plus 425 for 2 touchdowns. Whereas Evans is plus 1,200, 12 to 1 versus 4.5 to 1.
Let me find that on here. Usually there's like a touchdown. Why am I not finding it? Oh, TD scores. Here we go. So score 2 or more. All right. Yeah. So that puts us at plus 1,700 versus plus 500.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. So we could just leave those 3 things. Evans over 70, Kincaid over 3.5, and then Diggs with the 2 TDs.
Yeah.
Plus 170.
That's
plus
nice.
1,700. Sorry, plus 17.
Plus 7, so 17 to 1, which is great. Is great. Yeah. The weakest link in that, I think, would be Kincaid. I love the receivers. I do like the receivers, and what you can do with those 2 receivers, you can stack that a bunch of different ways.
All right, man. Is there any info or anything you looked at that we haven't kind of dived into here? I feel like we covered a lot.
Well, I mean, I told you I didn't go into the actual matchups between the corner and the wide receiver, but we talked about where the advantages were. I could give you that. No, I think I've pretty much covered most of what I had to talk about.
So Gugu Jin's asking, I think we talked about this when we first came into the show, so maybe he missed the beginning. He's asking question would be, what will Bills do without Knox, without as a blocker? We were talking about that, like does Kincaid slide in? But not necessarily. They'll probably just move him around and find another way to block.
They can always move like a guard out, or something like that. They can always take another lineman if they but they're they tip their hand that way.
Two running backs? Could they do two running backs and have like Latin Murray blocking?
Probably not. I mean, I don't think he's that good of a blocker. I don't think he's going to be as good in space. But tight end's such a difficult position. My guess is that they're just going to run more 3 wide receiver sets, and just split Kincaid out as the slot receiver, more than likely. But yeah, I don't know where Kincaid's going to play, because none of us have seen him play in the tight end slot consistently in the NFL. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, but I do know if he's in that slot position, he's got a significant advantage, and then as a receiver, he should capitalize. And we're going to have funneling going to him because the other tight ends are out. Versus Knox, he was 50-50. Knox used to block half the time, and whenever nobody could get open, that's when they're going to throw the Knox. Whenever Diggs can't get open, Knox is the safety blanket. But without him, I'm guessing that they're going to rely a little bit more on Diggs. Diggs is going to be the safety blanket regardless. There's no one else I can see that Allen's going to trust the same way.
Yeah, Diggs has been smashing, man. Dan and I did a show on Tuesday night on the Player Profiler Network. Make sure you go check that out. We're on there every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And we talked about the golden oldies, Rob, the classics right now who are crushing, and Diggs. You got Kupp coming back. You've got Keenan Allen crushing, like these guys that people weren't really excited to draft. Tyreek Hill, because of age, they wanted the new shiny toys. Maybe not necessarily so happy right now. And you got to think that Diggs is going to keep eating targets all night tonight, especially with an angry Buffalo team coming off of a loss against one of their divisional rivals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and without a doubt. And as far as the old crusties, yeah, I that's every year, but that's the Justin Jefferson Chase effect. Everybody saw these receivers come out and take the league over by storm, and people start looking for that to happen every year. It just doesn't. There's one Jamar Chase, there's one Justin Jefferson. They come out once a decade. In the meantime, you got to be looking for the next thing. But yeah, I think that you look at these older guys who are skilled, who have performed consistently, and to think that they're suddenly going to fall off a cliff, they're going to, some guys do, but generally they just kind of fade away, right? They just slowly go away. So yeah, I agree. These guys that are out there right now in Dynasty, Tyreek Hills, I'll ride Tyreek for the next 2 years and he'll win me championships. I don't care if he's 31.
Anthony got bamboozled. I don't do the thumbnails for those ones. I only do the thumbnail for the Goat District channel. But yeah, they have a new artist. Actually, she's crushing it too. So we were pretty happy with that thumbnail. Hopefully you guys liked it. Yeah. So Anthony pointing out Evans and Diggs. The oldies, man. We talk about too, especially dynasty wise. Like I mention often, if you were a wide receiver 1 before, there's a way higher chance that you're going to be a wide receiver again than anyone else available, in your range. So, even just sticking to that simple rule.
It's like the dip with Olave. For me, the dip for Olave is right now. Olave is going to be around for a decade. All right. And right now they're struggling a little bit, but yeah, this is your opportunity to go get a Diggs, a guy who's going to be around for a long, long, long time. You don't even have to think about it. So, yeah, I mean, there's some guys out there that are younger, but yeah, the ones that have been around, like until they show you that there's something wrong, there's no reason to fade that.
Agreed. All right. Anthony's on our thumbnail.
All right, so
pass on the message to.
Do you guys want some stats on this game? I can throw out some quick stats.
Why don't you throw whatever you have left so they can use that any way they please?
Yeah. All right. So as far as like technicals, last 6 games with the Bills, we've gone 4-2 to the over. let's see, what else do I got in here? Buffalo's 8-1 straight up in the last 9 games versus the NFC. So that's something to note also. They've basically been winning against the NFC. Yeah, that's about only things I really have that I haven't popped out there yet. So
overall in this game, you think this is closer? So you're thinking Tampa Bay, the +9, and you like the over, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, I think I mean, the over. Yeah, I think I lean a little towards the over. 6 of the last 7 Buck games have gone under, but I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to run too much in this game. I think they have some advantages in the passing game they can take advantage of. I kind of looking at the other way and saying the same thing with Buffalo. Like I don't think they're going to run that great in this game. Tampa Bay has an underrated defense. I do think they're going to have to lean a little on the pass. So yeah, I mean, if there's more passing, more possessions, more scoring.
Yeah. So see. Buffalo D allowed 45% success rate versus screen passes. And this is kind of what I was getting at with White with the reception. So I know you disagreed and Ruckus throwing a little.
Yeah. There. Yeah. I mean, look, guys, with White, what I'm saying is, I don't know. All right. Yeah. I've got, it's a little
I do like the over on his receptions though. Cause even if you think about it, Rob, if they're either way, they're going to be behind. You said they're going to be scoring more in the second half. So they're going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be moving it. They're not going to be controlling the pace or anything.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Look, like I said, I'm coming in. I'm just trying to give you what I can pick out, which is like an angle or 2 angles. My angle is Mike Evans on this game. I don't want to and then maybe Diggs, and then anything else we're putting in there, that's going to be how we feel on things or guts but that's all I can bring to the table today.
It's like when we do our best ball shows in the offseason draft boards, we talk about telling a story. You got to tell a story when you're drafting that team. You can't make the story not make sense. It's the same thing here, right? You go in with a narrative, you go in with a kind of idea how you think the game goes, and then you make all the pieces fit into that. As you make your prop bets, or you have a couple scenarios that you play off of.
Either way, right? I mean, we talked about Buffalo winning. They jump out ahead. Tampa's going to have to pass to come behind. I don't think Tampa jumps ahead by running the ball. I think if they're going to jump ahead, they're going to score some touchdowns through the air early, and then we're going to see Buffalo passing. Either way, it kind of plays to the wide receiver. And so, yeah, to me, that's all I can really give you on this. I'd love to give you more, but that's what I can pick out. So,
yeah, I'm still torn on the over under, but I do think the Bills cover, and I do think that this is one of those where they feel like they really need to win. Plus, they're at home.
Look, I think I like the over because I think Buffalo scores 28 points. I think that they'll score 28 points. I think that Tampa probably scores at least 14. If they're going to keep it within 9, then I'm saying that they're going to score at least 19.
I was thinking like a 31-10 type of thing. That's kind of why I was leaning the under, but it's still close, right? So it's just a field goal difference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, when you start going with over-unders, come on, guys. This is all.
I know.
Whoa, defense. We lose. The defense scores a touchdown. Oh,
yeah. The over-under is probably my least favorite to bet on, to be honest. I'd rather just go look at some more player props because, I don't know. I feel like it's a little more predictable. Like you said, defense scores, some funky play happens, a safety, whatever it is.
And also regarding the running back out of the back, Buffalo's averaging giving up 6.6 receptions a game for 43 yards a game. Tampa Bay is averaging giving up 6.4 receptions a game for 42 yards a game. Take that for what you want out of that. You might get the reception total and maybe not the yardage. So that's. I mean, I'm just trying to give you the stats on the match.
No, I do like the White reception over, like I said, and that still kind of gives him the over 3.5 there.
Yeah, I mean 6.6 a game. I mean, it seems like you could get 4 receptions pretty easy. And the way we're talking about this, he's going to be needed to catch the ball out of the field. Tampa's missing a guard. They're also missing their center Jensen. Buffalo can get a rush going. That plays to the running back out of the backfield.
Go Jim is like, I don't have as much confidence in Rachaad White. I think that's what Rob's saying is he's kind of like more of a crapshoot than the other players.
Yeah. I don't want to say that he's not going to do anything or he's going to do anything. I just don't have a solid stats with Rachaad White for this game. Although I like the receptions total because if they're giving up 6 receptions a game and it's 3. Yeah.
All right, Rob, we are about 35 in. Let's end it here. I think we've gone through quite a bit. Actually, you brought a lot of great information today, actionable alpha data that you brought us today, which we appreciate. And I think we put some lines together, some bets together, some props, same game parlays. You can get the gist out of which players we like and don't like if you're playing fantasy tonight, based on the information we gave. Rob, any last tidbits or anything that you want to make sure you let the peeps know before we drop this?
Nah, just I think I've said it enough. Mike Evans. And
I'll say Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is the favorite. So yeah, I'm trying to reach a little with Evans. I'm trying to give you a little juice. So
all right, guys, enjoy the game tonight. Make sure you tune in at 7 p.m. right here. Dan and I with Jax Falcone from the Undroppables. We'll be talking all kinds of fantasy. Make sure you bring your questions, comments, and we'll check you all later.
Go district, the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden, they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be trading. And I always be trading. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.